So we'll start as we always do within Sikhi whenever we're out to do any carriage, any task, any event. And that is via a Mangala Charan, or an invocation, a request to the Guru to bless us in whatever direction they wish, and for them to take this discussion wherever they'd like to. Satnam Sri WhyGuru Sahib Ji, Mukh Uchara Sastra Khat, Ping Girn Char Jai, And Lakha Badaro Suna Jaukar Kripa Karai, Kaha Buddha Prabhatu Chahamari, Barna Saka Mahama Jyotihari, Hamana Sakat Kar Sifat Tumari, Aap liho tum katha sudhari, Hamana Sakat Kar Sifat Tumari, Aap liho tum katha sudhari. Guru Pyari Saad Sangat Ji, Gajabad ki Fateh Parwan Karo Ji, WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki Fateh. So again, my apologies for being slightly late, and thank you all for waiting so patiently. It's lovely to be back at the famous Thursday G&G talks, and it's amazing to see how much Sangat is coming now. Guru Kirpa, a little family every Thursday, and even just sitting in them, which is super special as well. So again, thank you to the amazing Sevadar team. There's Babin Singh, Mandeep Singh, who sorts out the catering, Lavneet Singh and Singh Sahib for doing the audio as well, and everyone that just turns up. It means a lot, and quite often those people in the background aren't appreciated, so thank you to you all. So today's topic is Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, the 9th Guru, and in particular how they became Pargat, how they became known. And this is a Sakhi that many of us have heard about as children, as adults, and everything in between. And it's something that I had heard about, but then reheard in a third, which is why I wanted to share it all with you, to emphasize the point and to emphasize the importance of listening to our history. And hopefully the next hour, hour and a half will convince you that we all need to listen to our history much more, because we're skimming over major details. And I'll give you some pointers on how to do that at the end. Whilst thinking about this talk, I was thinking about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and a tarna, or a part we read regarding Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj is that Tegh Bahadur Simriya Karanaun Deave Tai. So I thought we just start with that together, and I'll explain what it means first. And we hear this within our ardaas and the Bani of Guru for, everything we get married for, everything we put all the hard work in for. And on the other side, you have 18 types of spiritual powers, things that people do part for, people do seva for, things that people do hard penances for, like being able to read other people's minds, being able to travel through space, being able to hear from miles away, being able to see from miles away, all these things. And within Gursikhi, an interesting concept that I try and conceptualize is that if you imagine WhyGuru's at the top and it's like a triangle, we're at the bottom two corners. The mathematician in me is coming out now. And we are working parallel. We're trying to get these treasures, but instead Guruji is saying, forget the treasures, go to the person who's created the treasure hunt. Go to the person that's created the treasures. Go to the source, and the product will follow up. Within Gurbani we hear that that these 9 types of physical treasures, wealth, status, fame, education, and I can't remember the others, the 18 types of spiritual powers, they follow the dust of that person's feet, who keeps WhyGuru in their mind at all times, and there's a Sakhi that illustrates this. So whilst we're remembering Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and this year is a huge year in celebration of the 350th Shahidi Purab, the year in which, in 1675, when Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji gave their own head, Guru Gobind Singh Ji sacrificed their father to save the Hindu Dharam. So whilst remembering this year, one thing I'd like you to remember is that Tegh Bahadur Simriya Karanaun Deave. The thing that we spend our lives trying to obtain, if we go to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Guru Sahib will grant us all of these things. So let's sing this together quickly as a tarna, and then we'll start. Teg Bahadur Simariya, Teg Bahadur Simariya. Sangat ji gaj ke Teg Bahadur Simariya, Teg Bahadur Simariya. Karno nid avatai, Karno nid avatai. Teg Bahadur Simriya Karno nid avatai. Let's try and make that the theme of today's talk. Theek hai ji. So, background. Who can tell me who that's a picture of? Hanji Banji. Hanji, Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji Maharaj, the 8th Guru, who passed away in Delhi. Oh, sorry, WhyGuru. Jyoti Jyot, they merged back with WhyGuru in Delhi. And before they left this world in a physical form, they passed the Guruship on to Baba Bakala, or Babbe Bakali. That was the words they said, right? That Baba, my Baba, the next Guru is in Bakala. And it's important to understand the relationship. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj was the brother of Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji's Saka Baba, Bhai Guru Ditta Ji. So that's why actually they were the brother. Like, you know, your Baba has a brother, right? Ohi thada Baba lagda, hai na? So that was the relationship between Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. So a lot of people don't know that. And what's also interesting is Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji Maharaj sent a Gursikh with panj paise and a nariyal, a coconut, before they left to go and actually give the Gurgaddi to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And then that Gurgaddi ceremony was done in Gupt Roop, in a secretive form, because obviously there was a lot of commotion happening at that time. So before Makhan Shah Lubana actually presents Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, on a spiritual level, they're already the Guru. It's just that no one knows, which is important for people to understand, that officially it's already been done. Does that sound okay with everyone? If there's any questions as we go, please ask. If I'm speaking too quick, just tell me to slow down. If I'm speaking too slow, tell me to hurry up. So, as we would have, many of us would know, there was a sect called Makhan Shah Lubana. And even the word Lubana is an interesting word. It refers to a clan of people or that community of people that are traders, traditionally, right? And they're all over India. Even today, Lubane Sikh bhi hunde. You see, there's a famous number plate that goes around Birmingham. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It says Lubana Singh. Yeah, seen it. So he's probably a rich guy. So what happened was, so just to give you an idea as how rich he was, and we're going to get into some figures later as well. He had 500 workers. That's like a medium-sized company, right? That's huge. He's not just this random guy who shared a few shipping containers and did a bit of buying and purchasing. He was serious businessman. And his wealth was serious as well. And again, a part of the Sakhi that a lot of people, that is mistold actually, is that Makhan Shah Lubana, as he was trading from different countries, his ship got into the midst of a storm with all the workers, the 500 workers on it. And what we hear is that his ship was about to drown, but actually his ship had got stuck on a mound. And as you know, when a ship gets stuck on a mound, as the waves come in, it pushes it further up on the island or the sand or whatever it's based on, right? And it gets worse and worse, and it gets more stuck, basically. So that was the situation. That's obviously not the ship, but I thought it was a cool picture. So something like that, right? So that was the situation, and at that point, all 500 workers, imagine 500 men trying to tow this boat back into the ocean. And after many days of attempts, they had no luck. And at that point, Makhan Shah Lubana was a great Gursikh that had a lot of faith in Guru Sahib. And he did an ardaas. And even the way he did an ardaas is very important to make a note of. Just as a reference, I'm referencing Bhai Vishal Singh's Surya Prakash Katha, which I'd highly recommend you all listen to. And I'm going to give you a link to it at the end as well. So it's said that he did Panja Shanana. So he found a water source, he washed his hands, his feet and his face, and then ਧਿਆਨ ਕਰਕੇ he did an ardaas to Guruji, say, Guru Sahib, please manu bachao. We've tried all we can. We haven't got the strength to do this. And as any Sikh does, when their strength runs out, we come to you, Guru Sahib, because there's no limit on your strength. And then after doing the ardaas, he had faith in Guru Sahib, and he got all his workers together again that thought, this is it now. Asi sare ne mar jana. And he said, right, we're going to give it one last go. And at that point, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj became Pargat in the form of one of the workers. So no one knew it was Guru Sahib. And Guruji Aap got one of the parts of the boat and put it on the mudda and pushed it off. And at that point, Makhan Shah was the only one that did the ardaas. So onnu pata si that this was Guru Sahib's kirpa. What was quite funny is that all the workers started doing their balle balle, they started doing pangra, and they thought, yo, we smashed it, we finally got it off. But Makhan Shah realized that this wasn't their work, it was the Guru's work. And in the ardaas, sorry, I forgot to mention, he said, Maharaj, please sadite kirpa karo, and next time I see you, I'm going to give you 500 gold coins, 500 mora. And that was his ardaas to Maharaj, please help me. And it's important to understand, it's not Guru Sahib, Makhan Shah Lubana trying to bribe Guru Sahib, right? Guru Sahib didn't need 500 gold coins. But sharade di gal hundi hai. Like, Guruji, if you help me out of this situation, then, I want to support the Guru's card even more. And there's nothing wrong with offering pirta like that as well. As long as you're not trying to blackmail Guru Sahib, which we'd be stupid for in the first place anyways, right? So, as I mentioned, the workers got big-headed. And at that point, I was thinking about our own lives. And sometimes this can happen to any of us. Now, Makhan Shah Lubana, I'm going to do a quick pop quiz. Everyone got their phones on them, yeah? I want you to understand how much 500 gold coins was. So it said in Katha that 500 gold coins was about 5 kg worth of gold. First one to tell me today's value of it wins. 5 kg of gold. 350,000. Do you trade gold?
Maybe.
We'll come to you for financial advice after. Yeah, £350,000 in today's worth. Okay? So it wasn't just like Guru Sahib, I'll drop you £1,000, 350 grand. Now imagine one of us said, Guru Sahib, our karaj safal karo. Like, please help me with this task. And I'll give you I'll donate 10 grand to Smith Gurdwara, right? Once, Smith Gurdwara probably listening in now saying, yo, basis of Sikhi accepting a check. Once we've got it done, then the real battle starts, is like, actually have to give this now. And a lot of time in Itihas, people have gone back on their ardaas. So this is where the true test comes in. But by Makhan Shah Lubana being the Gursikh he was, having the faith he was, he didn't waver for one bit. And our mind will play tricks on us. Our mind could have thought, what, maybe it was just the workers that got us out. Maybe the ardaas didn't kick in. Whatever. Our mind will come up with loads of excuses for 350 grand, right? But he stuck to his word. And that's really important. That if we ever put 350 grand on the table in front of Guru Sahib, or however much it might be, it might not even be money, it might be anything. Whatever ardaas we do, we stick to. And that's why I feel there's a less of an emphasis now that people don't value their ardaas as much. It's making a pledge, So whether it's the smallest thing or the biggest thing that exists in your life, je ardaas karniya, regardless of whatever it takes, you need to see it through to the best of your ability. No matter how small the gal is, no matter how big the gal is. And that's what Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana did, and he's done for it. So the workers got big-headed, but they didn't know that it was obviously Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And just whilst thinking about this idea of pulling back from ardaas, there's a word in Punjabi gurbani called a Kirtan. Someone that's ungrateful. And again, as we'll see in the Sakhi later, there are many people that were ungrateful against the Guru's house. Tirmal being one of them, the elder brother of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who actually tries to assassinate Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And there are some serious no-nos in Sikhi. Doing Nindya is a serious no-no, because the amount of sin you'll get for it is something you don't want to be messing with. But out of top 3 baps, a Kirtan's definitely there. And I found Bhai Gariya Dwara. And just to give you an idea, because we can do this so subtly, whether it's with our parents, whether it's with our friends, whether it's the people we do seva with, and the importance of just being grateful and remembering that the importance of that, sorry. So what does Bhai Gariya say? That Natis Pare Parbata Asman Kahande. That the mountains that touch the skies, they're not that much weight compared to Natis Pare Kortgar Karbar Desande. If you have forts that are made of steel and iron, they're not that heavy either. Natis Pare Saira Nadavaha Vahandi. The oceans in which all the rivers come, they're not that heavy either. Natis Pare Turbara Falasofala Falandi. That all of these trees that the world hosts, they're not that heavy either. Natis Pare Ji Jante Anaganata Firandi. And all of the creatures the world hosts, they're not that heavy either. Pare Pui Akeratakane Mandi Hu Mandi. They're not that heavy compared to who? Akeratakane. Someone that's ungrateful. And the worst person you can be ungrateful to is the Guru. And I thought that was just very interesting. The level, the priority Sikhis given to ungratefulness. And that can come in very subtle ways as well. So it's very important that we say our pleases and our thank yous, but also when we have a bargain, we hold up our side, if not more. Okay, so by Makhan Shah Lubana, I've put his initials as MSL because I got lazy. And apologies, I meant to put way more pictures on, but the PowerPoint got quite late, so just use your imagination. When he got back onto shore, it was said that actually he first ported near Pakistan, so then he went all the way to Delhi because news hadn't reached that Guru Har Krishna Sahib Ji Maharaj, Unhone Jyoti Jyot Samali. So he went to Delhi, and then at that point he found out this bachan of Baba Bakali. So then he goes from Delhi all the way to Punjab. So you can imagine he's going with 500 workers, 5 kg of gold, all of their tambus, all of their tents, all of their saman. It's literally like a mini army moving around. So he's first gone from an area of Pakistan to Delhi, which would have took weeks. Then he's got to Delhi to find out the Guru's not there. At that point he could have thought, chalo, we're meant to be. I'll call it a day, right? But he didn't give up. Then he went to then he went to Punjab and he went to Bakali. And what happened at that point was because of the bachan of Baba Bakala, all these people, these fakes, they started dairy. They started their own kind of claim to the Guruship, and there were 22 Bhai, 22 imposters if you like. And they all were fighting for the Sangat because all the Sangat had gone to Bakala Sahib as well now, and they were waiting to find out who the true Guru is. And they also had Masans, workers for them. And the Masans would go and preach about their Guru. So for example, if Mandeep Singh was one of the pastors, yeah, I'm his Masan, I'd come to you guys like, guys, Mandeep Singh's the one, trust me, he did this miracle for me, I've seen him do this miracle for that guy, you want to come and mind him, Hana? And then Lavneet Singh would be a Masan for someone else, and they'd try and win you over. So people going all over, not knowing where to go, giving peta to these people, and just clueless. And it was a fight for the Sangat basically. Now what happened was, as Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana did it, put a dera up outside Bakala Sahib, obviously he had 500 people, the camps, just the resources that took, it caught a lot of attention. Now the Masans caught wind of this and they're like, there's a seriously rich guy here who's come to find the Guru. We need to get to him before the others do. So they all come and start pitching to him, saying, Sarde ko aao, we've got the Asli Guru, ours is the right guy. Come to our guy, he'll bless you with even more wealth, all this stuff. And they start pitching. Now, as Makhan Shah Lubana gets there, he's like, what a mess. How on earth am I going to find the true Guru? But he keeps his bharosa because he knows he's got the ardaas. And the true Guru will know what the ardaas was. The naqli ones, the fake ones, they won't have a clue. So now he's got a way of testing. And the person in lead, if you like, of trying to win over the Sangat was Tirmal. As I mentioned, he was the elder brother of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. And one of the things that seemed to make him very legitimate was that he had the Kartar Puri Bir. This was the first ever scribed version of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj that was kept in their house. And even till today, if you go on Vaisakhi, you can see they bring it out once a year to do darshan. From 1604, this was scribed. Before that, actually, the first time Adi Granth was put on Harmandir Sahib was 1604. So because he had that Granth, everyone thought, you know what, he's got this first version of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, maybe it's him. So while Makhan Shah Lubana goes, and this is very interesting, before he goes to Tirmal, he goes to what they call Granth Sahib. And he matha takes and he puts Panj Paise down in front of the Granth. Because he knew, chalo, these guys might be what will be imposters, but by now in the psyche of the Sikh, they knew that Gurbani was a form of the Guru. So he went there, he matha taked, he put Panj Paise down in front of Granth Sahib Ji at that point, because it wasn't, the Sampurnata Divas haven't happened yet. And then he put 2 in front of Tirmal. Now even 2 gold coins was a huge amount then. Not everyone could offer 2 gold coins. So Tirmal was loving it. And Tirmal just spoke of like wealth and worldly things. And Makhan Shah Lubana, being the Gursikh he knew that this person hasn't got it. But then Tirmal tried his best to try and win him over. So he bought these really, really menge kapre, these expensive sarope, and did a big hoo-ha, made a big thing for Makhan Shah Lubana, gave him a saropa, so that he hopes that, you know, I've buttered him up enough, he'll come back to me. And when he only put 2 gold coins down, what every fake guru and every masand was thinking that, you know what, this guy's just testing the waters. We're playing the long game here. This is an investment. We want to make him feel so welcome that when he drops the big bucks, he comes to us. They all knew what the situation was. Because you wouldn't have bought 500 workers just to drop 2 gold coins to everyone. So everyone's playing the long game. Even though there's not a lot of pirta being given in 2 gold coins, relatively speaking, they're all in it for the long game. When he gave the 2 paise to Tirmal, and Tirmal didn't ask for the rest, he knew straight away this guy's not true, because the true guru would have said, where's the rest of the 498 that you promised the guru's house? And he did this to all the 22 fake babbe that had set up their dairy. And he was quite disheartened by the end of it, because he realized, sari nakaliya. And again, the Masands are coming, they're trying to bring him over to their side, to their guru. And it's all a bit of a mess. Now at the same time, we have Mata Nanaki Ji, the mother of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the wife, the mahal of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. So just to give you guys the lineage, you have the 6th Guru, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. The youngest son was Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's son was Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Theek? So Mata Nanaki Ji, the wife, the mahal of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj was there, and she was a Mahapurkh in her own right. So she's also sent her son Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and she knew he's the Guru, but everyone's been trying to get Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj to come out. But Guru Sahib ne aap kya, main pargat nahi hona. I'm staying gupt. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji stayed like that for 26 years, they did that much bhakti. And 2 Gursikhs came that obviously knew the situation, they were very in-house, and they said, Mataji, there's a great Shahukar like a great trader, businessman, that set up dera outside of Baba Bakala, and he's giving money to all the Gurus. And he said, you know, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji should accept this pirta as well. Unhone bhi pargat hona chahiye. They should reveal themselves and also accept pirta from this person that's going around and trying to find the real Guru. And at that point, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji dropped a bomb. They said, whoever tries to reveal me as the Guru, Dargah de vich unna da moor kala ho jaga. That in Dargah, in the next life, their face will be blackened. They'll be stained. And basically it will be a paap, it will be a sin to try and reveal me. And everyone's like, well, okay, we better step this down a notch. Guru Sahib made it serious. And Guru Sahib was that intent on staying gupt. Stage 2. What happens next? So, at one side you've got Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in their Pura Sahib, which is like it's kind of like a cave, a dungeon, but in a very positive sense. A lot of Guru Sahibs, a lot of Mahapurkhs have Pure, where they would, like, it's a very simple room, normally just concrete, where they would sit and do bhakti. So you have Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in Bakala Sahib in their Pura, and Mata Nanaki Ji, and a few Gursikhs that knew the situation. And then you have all the other Masans and Makhan Shah Lubana outside. Now Makhan Shah Lubana calls all the Masans and he says, Hor koi Sodhi hai nahi? Are there no more Sodhis? Sodhis are those people that are in the lineage of the Guru. So from the fourth Guru, Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj, there was Sodhi once. The clan, if you like, was all of Sodhis. And you have different clans for the first three Gurus. But then from Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj onwards, it was all Sodhi once. So that's why he's saying Sodhis. He said, is there no one else here? And they're all like, no, you've seen all 22 of them. There's no one else. Then one Masan stands up and he says, you know what? Ek hega hor. Bo gupt rendi, bala gal nahi karda. There's one more, but he doesn't really speak to anyone. He's not bothered. He doesn't want to get involved. But he's the son of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. Now when Makhan Shah Lubana hears, he's like, what? Why didn't you tell me this before? You got the son of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj sitting here and no one's told me. And at that point, he had a catch within his heart. He had something pulling him and just, you know, sometimes you get a good gut feeling. He had that good gut feeling. And he realized that this must be the person. It has to be the son of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji that doesn't want to be found. And remember, he's been to all these other Gurus. He himself is a great Gursikh. He knows what the signs of the Guru are going to be. And all these guys have done is just speak waffle to him. No asli galla, nothing of value. And he realizes that, you know what, the one that wants to be gupt, that's where the treasure is. So then what does he do? He went with all 500 people. You know how you have like a procession when an important person comes? Makhan Shah Lubana was an important person. So he even had his band Vajja, he had tall people, he had everything, like a wedding. And it's quite funny, what happened was, and in those summers, and even today, when do you do a toll? Koi khushi da sama hunda na, when you're happy, when it's like a wedding or whatever. Chalo, we might not do it, but you get what I mean. So he's got a toll blasting, all 500 people are going towards the Pura of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And at that point, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji hears it, he's like, what's all this ruckus? What's all this commotion? And he says to one of the Gursikhs, Bhai Gariya Ji, and he goes, Makhan Shah is coming here. Obviously, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji knew the situation. He said, Onnu ja ke kaho, sara kuch band karo, je auna kalla aave. This is not how you enter the Guru's house. Nimratara naal auna chahida. He shouldn't be coming making a big fuss. If you want to come to meet the Guru, or you want to go somewhere with respect, you go with humility. You don't go making a huge noise. And I want to pause there for a second to talk about who Bhai Gariya Ji was. So I'm going to use Man Singh's words from last week as a side quest. We're going to go on a side quest. And this will come back to Tegh Bahadur Simriya Kar Naune Deavetaye. And just to let you know, what were the kind of people Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji kept around them? What were the kind of people, what were the level of these Gursikhs that the Gurus kept close to them? And hopefully we can aspire to be like as well. So, I got the Sakhi done super quick, so sorry for the formatting. But Bhai Gariya Ji was a Gursikh of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, from Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj's time, and then stayed with the Gurus for a while. And just to illustrate what Bhai Gariya Ji was like, so he was sent to Kashmir for some seva, and there was a person there called Mai Dullah, and he had a lot of Riddhiyan Siddhiyan. These powers I talked about earlier, the 18 powers, he could read people's minds, he could fly, he could make people flip over, but he wasn't using them for anything bad as so. He had done a lot of bhakti and he had these powers. So he had a bit of ego within him. And he hosted Bhai Gariya Ji at his house. And as they were leaving, he's seeing him off and Mai Dullah is walking behind him. Bhai Gariya Ji is reading Sukhmani Sahib. And they hear the Pankti, Sukhmani Sukh Amrit Prabh Naam Bhagat Janaka Man Bisram. And what that last bit means is Bhagat Janaka Man Bisram. In the minds of the Bhagats, they get a Bisram, they get peace. Bisram means to pause or to have peace. And as he heard that Pankti, within his own mind, for the first time ever, he got peace. And he's like, whoa, there's something in the Bani you're reading. And he said to Bhai Gariya Ji, he goes, Bhai Gariya Ji, you've got this power within you. I can see it. And he asked about the Bani, but then in his head, at that point, he looked at Bhai Gariya's beak. And he's like, this guy looks like he hasn't got any money. Because at the time, Bhai Gariya Ji's, one of their chappala, their shoes, they were all broken, they were ripped. Because they've walked from Har Gobindpur which is far away from Kashmir. And in his mind, he's thinking, this guy has like so much power with the Sukhmani Sahib. Why has his guru not given him any Riddhiya Siddhiya to like at least sustain himself? As he had that shanka on Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Bhai Gariya turned around and goes, "Oi, idhan nahi sochna." He said, "What are you on about?" He goes, "Don't you ever think that my guru hasn't given me anything?" Now my Dawla realizes what kind of person he's up against. Because obviously, Bhai Gariya Ji just read his mind. And he goes, "You think my guru hasn't given me anything? Maran ne mainu sab kuch de deta." And he goes, "Bhai Gariya," he goes, "My Dawla thale dekho." And when he looked down, every little centimeter on the floor was filled with diamonds, with rubies. And he's like, "What on earth is this?" And all he could see were the most valuable jewels as far as his eyes could go. And then he looks up and he falls at the feet of Bhai Gariya Ji. He goes, "Mainu maaf kar diyo. I didn't realize this is what your guru's given you. Please forgive me for having this doubt on your guru." And it's interesting, Bhai Vishal Singh says that when someone does Shankar, when someone doubts a Gursikh, they don't mind. When someone doubts the guru, then they get involved. And at that point he said, "Okay, look, like, you've got the power to make diamonds appear on the floor. Why are you walking around in mashup chapala?" And at that point, Bhai Gariya Ji says, "Look, Bhagat Janaka Manabisram, I'm at peace. Baron, I don't really care what I look like. Maranu Sanu Kya Garibi Pe Iktaro." Guru Sahib has said, keep a humble appearance on the outside. But in my mind, I've got everything I need. And Guru Sahib has given me everything. So that's Bhai Gariya Ji. So that's the Bhai Gariya Ji that went out to Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana and said, "Relax yourself." Now, does that sound all right with everyone so far? Any questions? Anything that needs explaining? Cool. Now imagine there's a wedding here Sunday, right? Someone's rented 10 Lamborghinis, 16 Ferraris, all the G-Wagons you can find in the West Midlands, whatever else, right? Gorde, everything. Someone's got a DJ on wheels, whatever. And they're coming to the Gurdwara, they're going down the high street, and then the Granthi Singh comes out and goes, "Yo, turn this all off." How's that groom going to feel? If that happened on Sunday, it probably has happened at some point. What do you guys think? Hanji Singh? Hanji? He's going to be mad, right? He's like, "Yo, I spent all this money and you're telling me to relax on my wedding day." No way. I've paid for the Anand College, I'm doing it. That's the response now, right? We don't take feedback very well. But look at the feedback response from Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana. He was so happy that Bhai Gariya Ji said this to him. Why? Because he thought, I've gone to see all these other Nakli gurus and all they've done is just speak nonsense to me. All the other fake gurus have praised me. However, this is the first guru, without even seeing me yet, has started to identify my flaws. He's the real one. And Sangaji, when we come into Sikhi, when we come to the Gurdwara, when we come to the Sangat, I thought, wow, imagine having this mindset that if people are just singing my praises, I'm probably not in the right environment. Obviously, we should give positive feedback to each other. I'm not saying don't just be mean to each other all the time. But we want to be around those people by where we start to see our own flaws. And the biggest person that's going to do that is Guru Sahib. How we take it's up to us. But Makhan Shah Lubana, he was such a great Gursikh. Again, he could have thought in his mind, I'm going to give 350k to the Guru, and Guruji's telling me to relax. That's how we think, right? Like, nah, man, I want my pictures. But he was happy and he realized, this is the nishani of a true Guru. He's ironing my flaws out even before I've got to see him. And then he told everyone to stop. He said, "Everyone go back to the camp, I'm going on my own." And then he went quietly, chop karke, with humility. And a few of the things came to my mind on this point as to how we should approach coming to the Gurdwara. And there's a few historical examples of how people used to do this, and maybe things that we can incorporate into our own lives. And if you've got a DJ and stuff booked for your wedding on Smethwick High Street, please cancel it. Sorry to ruin it. Hopefully you get your deposits back. And one thing that you read from Pant Prakash is Gursikhs of the past, whenever they were on Kore, whenever they would see a Nishan Sahib, they would get off their Ghoda and start walking. And I was trying to work out what's the equivalent in today's world. Should we park up whenever we see the Nishan Sahib and walk? But then what happened with the car park? I don't know. But anyways, I thought it was quite interesting the respect that they gave the Guru's house, that, you know what, Nishan Sahib, the darshan ho gaye, we're going to walk now out of respect, because we're not going to come chadke on a Ghoda. And even it's said that at Harmandir Sahib, so hands up if you've been to Harmandir Sahib. Amazing. Hands up if you've heard of the idea or the word darshan diori. Okay. So darshan diori, darshan means to see, diori means like portal or entrance. So it's the first time you actually get to see, or it's the entrance to seeing Harmandir Sahib. Now there are two darshan dioris. The first one is literally at Harmandir Sahib. When you go in, like, you know, this entrance, that's called darshan diori, because when you go through it, you see Harmandir Sahib clearly, right? But there's another one. There's a Gurdwara darshan diori Sahib, and there's Harmandir Sahib. It's a few streets away, but now obviously it's all been commercialized. But in the olden days, when you would get to that spot, you would see Harmandir Sahib, and there's a Gurdwara there now as well. And our history writes that whenever the Guru Sahibs would go to Harmandir Sahib, they would get off their Ghoda and walk from there, and any Gursikh would walk from there. I thought it was really interesting. So maybe one thing that we could do, gurbani ch bhi pangti hondi hai, that anyone that comes and walks to a Guru Ghar, oda fal bahut hunda. So maybe let's just try and walk to the Gurdwara. What I started doing was I'd get on my bike, and then when I see the Nishan Sahib, I'd walk off my bike and walk with it. That's my Ghoda. But it's all these small things that help build Sharda within us, and traditions that have a lot of power. Because if by Makhan Shah and these Gursikhs are doing it, something's obviously working well for them, right? I thought it was just interesting to share. Where else was there? Yeah. Okay, so these are the first signs, that first bits of evidence by Makhan Shah Lubana is getting that, you know what, this is the Asli Guru, this is the Guru we've all been waiting for. And then when he went to go and see Guru Sahib, they went alone, matha teked, and as I mentioned, a son of a great Gursikh, they took the feedback on from the Guru. And for us, if we've got Gursikhs telling us, Sangat telling us things, then even though it will sting and it will hurt, that's why we're in Sangat, to iron those problems out, iron those avgun out. So be welcoming to it, and hopefully this Sakhi will resonate next time you're in that situation. So then he did it. He put the 2 gold coins in front of Guru Sahib, and Guru Sahib ne kiya, baki kithe hai? Where's the rest? And at that point, he knew he was in business. And he was so happy. Now you could ask, you might think, why did Guruji ask for the money? And I was like, why did Guruji have to ask for the money? Let me tell you why. Guruji didn't have to, is the truth. But they did to save Makhan Shah Lubana, not to get the money. What do I mean? When remember, Guruji didn't want to become Bargat. They were happy in their own moj. But when Makhan Shah Lubana came and he realized this person's come from an area of Pakistan, then he went to Delhi. Now he's come all the way to Punjab with this much Sharda. He's brought all his friends, all his family members, his workers. He's a Bhagat of mine. I can't let him go with his wish not being fulfilled. I can't let him go without giving him what he's after. That's the deal that the Guru makes with their Bhagats. They never let them go empty-handed. And any ardaas that a Bhagat does, a Gursikh does, Guruji can't refuse it. That's the love between Guru Sahib and their Gursikhs. And then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj sold that if I don't do this now, he's going to lose Sharda. And that's the worst thing I can do for him. So Guruji's not doing this to cash in. They didn't need the money. But Makhan Shah Lubana needed their Guru. That's the way to think about this. And at that point, Guru Sahib ne kya, where's the rest of it? And then Guruji went 100%. They said, I was there, and look, mera mudda dekh lo. And Guruji had a nishana on their arm. So I was the one that actually lifted you out of that mound. Bring the rest of the pitta. And at that point, Makhan Shah was ecstatic. He was so happy that finally he's found the Guru, and he couldn't wait to share it. But that's where we hear a bit of a twist. So now Makhan Shah has realized, and the other Gursikhs that were with Mata Nanak, finally, there's some traction. Maybe because everyone had eyes on Makhan Shah Lubana. Everyone was waiting for see where he went. So now the other Gursikhs are like, look, we've tried asking Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Now this guy will do it. We're sorted. So what happened was, Makhan Shah Lubana goes and... Sorry, 1 second. Hanji. Makhan Shah Lubana goes and Makhan Shah Lubana doesn't say to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, I'm going to reveal you anything. They just have that kind of conversation, and then he asks for Agya and he goes. But now he's planning. He goes and calls all the best kapde, all the best sewers, all the best tailors, and he says, I want you to make the best kapde overnight. He pays them triple the money, and he says, swear tak, everything needs to be made. He goes and gets deg made for thousands of sangat. And he starts doing all the tiyari, and he gets those 500 gold coins ready to give to Peta. Tomorrow, the day after, in the next few days, he's going to go and present all of this to Guru. And in his mind, he's thinking, I'm going to reveal the Guru to all these sangat that are wandering around lost. Now, obviously, all the fake Babe, they didn't know this. And they see Makhan Shah Lubana has made a decision, so they're getting happy. They're thinking, man, he's chosen us. Finally, the investment's paid off. So what's funny is they start getting their own tiyariyan done. They start getting like a takht made. They start getting langar made. They start getting extra tambus up, and everyone's thinking it's coming to them. And the next day, once all the tiyari's been done, Makhan Shah Lubana has got these beautiful kapde ready for Guru Sahib, the 500 gold coins that are coming in like, carts. And all of these are the gifts, the deg. As they're walking past all these fake Guru, they're all getting annoyed. And they're all cursing, saying, how has it not come to us? Who is it going to? And eyes are on Makhan Shah Lubana. Now, before Makhan Shah Lubana presents, the Sevaks go to Mata Nanaki and they say, Mataji, this has happened. He's a Puran Gursikh. Makhan Shah Lubana has realized who Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is. And they even said to Mata Nanaki Ji that Makhan Shah Lubana gets up every morning at Amrit Billah. And I found this really interesting. He would read Japji Sahib and Sukhmani Sahib off by heart every day. So again, even though he's a businessman, practically multi-millionaire at that time, he still had Sukhmani Sahib off by heart. And this is an important reminder for me as well, that obviously we all want to be rich, we want to be successful. And quite often we think, I got to put my Sikhi on the back burner a little bit, because what I'll do is I'll come on my Sikhi, I'll come on my job, I'll get to a good level, then I'll have more money, then I'll have more time, then I can do more for the Pant. That's not how it works. That's not the order in which we should be thinking. The order is, I'll come on my Sikhi and Guru Sahib will sort my job out as well. And he is evidence of this. He had no kami, but he had Sukhmani Sahib off by heart. So don't ever think that, you have to play them in tandem. They work parallel, or rather, your Sikhi pushes forward and it drags along everything else in your life as well. And Makhan Shah Lubana is one of many, many examples of this. So, remember the bhajan Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji mentioned? Who can remember it? Let's see if he's still awake. What did Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji say about the person that reveals them? Mukala hona, where? In Dargah, in the court of the next life, right? So then, Bhai Gariya Ji and those other Gursikhs, they're saying, Mataji, he's coming with all this plan, but he doesn't know about the bhajan. Unu das diya, should we tell him that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji said that jera menu paragat karnu chaunda oda mu Dargah vich kala hona. And Mataji said, dasna chahida, we should tell him. So at that point, the Sikhs go and look at the response from Makhan Shah Lubana. He says, koi nahi. He goes, je mainu dukh mil gaya, par baki duniya sukh milogi, koi gal nahi. He goes, if I get dukh, but the rest of the world benefits, then it's all good. And I remember, Makhan Shah was a nobody. He was a multi-millionaire. But his Sikhi came first, and also his pyar for the Sangat. He's watched everything that's taking place in Baba Bakala. He's seen all the Sangat that are confused, that has given their life savings to these fakes, that are falling for these fake Babe. And he wants to help them as well. which is an important aspect we don't think about often in this Sakhi. So then he comes, when he said, like, look, this is no problem. I'll happily get my face blackened in the next life if it means that the world gets to see Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in this life. I'll take the hit. So as he comes now, he goes to meet Mata Nanaki Ji, and he matha takes to Mata Nanaki Ji as well. She's a Puran Brahmgyani, great Mahapurukh herself. And then she confirms that, Mata Ji, is this what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji said? Are you sure this is what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji said? She said, हाँ, but this is what he said. उन्होंने आ किया. And at that point is my favorite part of the whole Sakhi. What does he do? He thinks, okay, marne kya, if I do this, my face is going to get blackened. He goes, you know what? Let's just do it here. And he goes, you know what? My next life is far away. I'm happy to get my face blackened now. Why wait till the next life? So what he does is he goes to the langar. And you know the pandey, you know the steel pandey of today, they're coated, right? Or gande nahi hunde. Proper steel or iron, like if you have sarablo, if you leave it, it gets black, right? It's soot on it. So he went to the langar and he got loads of pandey and he got the soot off it and muh ape kala kar liya. He blackened his own face. Again, listening to the bachan of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, so you know, if I'm going to do this, why wait till the next life? Main take kar loga. And he blackened his own face and then he went to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And obviously Guruji is looking at him like, what are you doing? What's going on here? And before we get on to the next bit, this has happened a few times in Itihas. Well, it's happened loads actually. I'm just going to tell you about a few times. Who can name the Gurdwara? Anyone been there? Hands up if you've been there. Hazur Sahib? No. Hands up if you've been to Hazur Sahib. Okay, brilliant. So Hazur Sahib had a similar story. Again, anyone recognize that picture? Maharaj Ranjit Singh. So a very similar story. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj in 1708, when they merged back with WhyGuru and left this world in a physical form, they said that anyone that makes an asthan, my Jyoti Jyot asthan, where I merge back with WhyGuru, their lineage will be finished. Their lineage will no longer live on. No one should make an asthan here. So for 150 years or whatever it was, just over 100 years, there wasn't actually the Hazur Sahib we know of today. It would have been very, very small, very, very low key, and nothing like it looks today. And it was Maharaja Ranjit Singh that actually made that asthan. And when he went to go make it, the Gursikhs told him about the Bachan Sant Mohan Singh, Printer Nawale actually talks about this in the Katha. They said that when Maharaja Ranjit Singh said this asthan needs to be made, they took the seva on. Someone told him to say, look, Guru Sahib na bachan kita, that's why no one's made Hazur Sahib. And he said, chalo, kingdoms come and go, rulers come and go, but there's only one Guru Gobind Singh Ji. What's my lineage if Guru Sahib sacrificed their mother, their father, and over 30 members of their family? And he took that burden upon himself. And it's interesting, if you look at after Maharaja Ranjit Singh passes away in 1841, I believe, and then 1847, Punjab's gone, it's annexed, right? The British took over. In the 6 years, if you look at what happened to Maharaja Ranjit Singh's children, you'd just be like, that's just bad luck, man. It is just pure bad luck. But then you realize this button, that Maharaja Ranjit Singh already knew that, you know what, it's going to finish with me, and that's fine. Because he would rather Guru Sahib be remembered over him. And that's big. How many of us would be ready to say, you know what, my lineage, khatam ho jayegi. I've got a daughter, Hukum Kaur, she's a year and a half. Imagine to think, you know what, she'll be finished as well. And again, this wasn't just a random Mandeep Singh on a Thursday night Semitic Gurdwara. This was Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the ruler of the biggest empire we've ever had. And he was like, doesn't matter. So this has happened many, many times. So Makhan Shah now is now going, and he goes and he gives all this deg to Guruji. Look at the importance of deg as well. Whenever a Gursikh wants Guruji's kushiyan, they always make deg. This isn't just a random thing that should happen in the Gurdwara. We should make deg as well on special occasions. Why? Because the tradition Guruji has set up, in which that has a very special link to the Guru's house. And whenever we want something, yes, we should do ardaas, but we should also offer something. And the recommended thing of offering is deg. That's what makes Guru Sahib happy. So then, when Guruji went, when the WhyGuru, Makhan Shah Lubana went, he gave all the sone kapde, the bastar that he got made, handmade, with the finest silk that they could find. And then he did a benti twice to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Guru Sahib didn't say anything. And after Guruji kind of questioned him, he said, Tu ki lana? Look, you've got what you came to get. You had my darshan. Thodi kalyanta hogi. You've been saved. Go back to your pendana. Go back to your desh. Stop this nonsense. And again, even at that point, imagine how many points Makhan Shah Lubana has had now to think, call it a day. Even now, he could have thought, Guru Sahib mainu muh nu keh rahe hai, stop. But now I'm going to keep going. So sometimes we have to be a bit teach in a very positive way with the Guru Sahib as well. And you'll find Gursikhs do this a lot. I'll talk about that in a second. And at that point, again, this is Guruji pressure testing them, right? He said, Guru Sahib, the Sangat are looking for you. They're falling for these Pakhandis. People, if you don't become Pargat, people are going to lose faith in Sikhi. The Mahama, the praise of Sikhi will decrease, and I can't let that happen. And neither can you. Please accept this benti. Now look, Makhan Shah Lubana is not doing this for himself. He's saying, Maharaj, the way people think about Sikhi is on the line. You have to do this. And at that point, Guru Sahib bahut khush hui. They said, Bhai Makhan Shah, if I don't listen to you now, you're going to think there's some kami in you because you're so great. You're not going to think, you know what, why is the Guru not listening to me? You're going to think, you know what, Guru Sahib knows everything. This went wrong because I did something wrong. Again, look at the nishani. Even when it looks blatantly obvious something's happening wrong, a Gursikh will never question the Guru. The kami will always be in them. And Guru Sahib said, I can't let you leave thinking there's some problem in you. I can't let you leave thinking there's some kami in you. You've come all this way. You haven't rested. And you still want what's best for the Sangat. And they said, I can't let you leave without fulfilling your wish. I can't let you leave me with regret. Such is the relationship between a Bhagat, a Gursikh, and the Guru. Guru Sahib will never let that Bhagat leave not being happy. Just as a child, just as a parent never lets their child leave their house not being happy. And Guru Sahib themselves said that whenever the call has come from a Bhagat, from a Gursikh, WhyGuru comes directly to answer their call. Just as Guruji is doing with Bhai Makhan Shah Lubana now. There's no way Guru Sahib can say no to them. And this is quite cool. This is quite powerful. If we become the Bhagats of Guru Sahib, then Guruji sanu bhi nahi na karunge. There's nothing they'll say no to us too as well. In a worldly sense and a spiritual sense. And there are a few examples I wanted to share with you. Bhagat Prahalad ji, we all know. Harnaka se dusht har marya Prahalad taraya. Prahalad ji, Bhagat Prahalad ji se Maharaj sadi rakhya karo. And Guru Sahib came and took a form of Narsingh and killed their father Harnakash. There's another great Sakhi of Baba Nand Singh ji. And they were like best friends with another great Mahapur called Baba Jawad Singh. And they were together and they thought, you know what, we want to meet Guru Nanak Dev ji. I see Guru Nanak Dev ji mara darshan karne. And they were stubborn about it. And they said, you know what, we're going to do it. So what did they do? They said, you know what, we want to shakar langar to Guru Nanak Dev ji. Now this was before Sant Baba Nand Singh ji became like as famous as they are now. Kind of in the like first Bhagati days, if you want to describe it like that. So what they did was they would hand make prashadda from scratch every morning and leave it and say, do ardaas, say, Maharaj, Guru Nanak Dev ji Maharaj, aap aake shako. And they said, Guruji, until you don't eat from this thal, we're not going to eat. 6 days, every evening, if the thal was still there and Guruji hadn't eaten it, they would throw it away. Next morning, they would make it scratch again. Now imagine that. Imagine one of our family members, we make them food. And if they don't eat it, we're not making them food again. You must be crazy. Order takeaway. You must be mad. Let alone from scratch. And we know how long dal sabji takes to make, right? It's a graft. This happened for 6 days. They started losing weight. They started becoming bimar. And at that point, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj came and said, why are you guys not eating? What's the problem? What do you want? They said, Maharaj, ਅਸੀਂ ਬਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. Please ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛਕੋ. ਸਾਡੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਸੀ that we just wanted to make you langar. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj came and gave them Pratak Darshan. This is only in the past 40, 50 years. And then Guru Sahib had that langar and फिर बाद उन्होंने छकिया. Guru Sahib can't say no to their bhagats. Sant Atar Singh Ji as well, great Mahapurkh Mastuane wale. What happened was they were at Hazur Sahib, and again, they went to Hazur Sahib for a few years before they came back, and they got a vision from Guru Gobind Singh Ji saying, what are you doing? I've sent you here to do Parchar. You're sitting here doing your bhakti. Chal mur ke ja, go and do Parchar now. And whilst they were in Hazur Sahib, they were, the river Gurdwara, for those of you that have been to Hazur Sahib, every morning there's like a mini Nagar Kirtan, you know, I've seen it, where they take the, what's it called again? Hanji? Gagar, Hanji, Gagar di seva, right? They take the Gagar, which is like a sarablo pot, bucket, something like that. And they do it like a cool mini Nagar Kirtan through the streets, past Langar Sahib, and then they go to the Godavari. So the river is the Godavari there, right? And they get the jal and they bring it back for the seva. So Baba Atar Singh Ji went 3 kilometers down the Godavari because they didn't want to be disturbed, and they stood in the river to do their bhakti. And a few days had passed where they hadn't eaten, and Guru Sahib thought, sada Mahapurkh kya, sada bhakt hai, unhone kuch langar nahi shakya. So what did Guru Gobind Singh Ji do? They went to the caretaker of Hazur Sahib, was Baba Nanu Ji. You know, now we have Baba Kulwant Singh, who is the Jathedar of Hazur Sahib, right? The head Granthi, or whatever the status is, sorry. The Mahapurkh of that time. Back then it was Baba Nanu Ji. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in their sleep, came to them and said, Nanu Singh, tenu pata nahi, like one of my bhagats is in your area, and wo bhukha reha. Jaake unu langar shakao. And they were like, Maharaj, where is he? He goes, he's in the Godavari, go and shaka him langar. So Bhai Nanu Ji went for 1 kilometer. He's like, there's no, imagine walking a kilometer, it's not easy, right? He's like, there's no one here, so he went back. At night, Guru Gobind Singh Ji told him off even more. He goes, I told you to go and feed him. Unu shakaya nahi. He goes, Maharaj, mainu kuch disya nahi. He goes, agge jaake dekh. And the next day, he kept walking, and then he saw Sant Atar Singh Ji. And then Sant Atar Singh Ji is they're in the samadhi. Their eyes are closed now. He doesn't really want to disturb them, but he goes, you know what, if I don't, Guru Gobind Singh is going to tell me off. So he disturbs the bhakti, and then he asks for maafi. He goes, what do you want? Like, Sant Atar Singh Ji is like, why are you disturbing me? He goes, look, please eat this langar, otherwise Guru Gobind Singh Ji will come back for me. Fir onnu shikaya si. So Guru Sahib looks out for their bhagats. And at this point, Guru Sahib really happy. They said, you know what, you made your face black, and you didn't care about what others thought. And they said, the bar that you were meant to take in the afterlife because of my bhajan has been lifted here. And Bhai Vishal Singh Ji explained this in such a beautiful way. So the bhajan was that in Dargah, in the court of WhyGuru, their face will be blackened, right? But look how clever Makhan Shah is. He's like, well, Dargah is in the afterlife, but Dargah is here as well, because Guruji ite bhi hai. So why don't I just blacken my face here, and that will be the bhajan sorted? So I don't want to say you can play tricks on Guruji, because obviously you can't. But we can be mischievous at times as well. And we can think outside of the box. And this is something that a lot of Gursikhs did. They took initiative. If Guruji said something, obviously if it's for the betterment of the Panth and the Sangat, they wouldn't take no for an answer. And it's really important to remember that, you know what, we don't have to go to the next life to have something dealt with. And what Bhai Vishal Singh mentioned and came to my mind as well is that even today, we have Sachi Dargah in two ways you can imagine. When we go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Darbar, that's the true Dargah, that's the true court. Anything we want to ask for forgiveness for, anything we want to obtain, we can do it in the Darbar Sahib. We don't have to wait till the afterlife like the other religions proclaim. But also, Guruji has given us a system to iron out any problems we have in this life before we leave. And that is the Panj Pyare. So, when you take Amrit, you go to the Panj Pyare, and obviously the Amrit ceremony happens. And what they say is that if you do any Qur'at, if you do anything that's against the discipline of a Sikh, there's certain levels, like if you do something low level, you do a Japji Sahib and you do ardaas, so you might do something else, right? You can kind of ask for forgiveness yourself. If you do something higher level, even by accident, then you have to go for pesh. You have to go and ask for forgiveness. You have to go to the Panj Pyare in Amrit Sanchar and tell them what the situation is, and they will give you maafi, but they'll give you a tanakha. You might have to do 10 Japji Sahibs, you might have to do 50 Japji Sahibs within 3 weeks, you might have to go and do Langar di Seva for a month, whatever, right? They'll give you it to wipe your slate clean. And this is something that I feel is slipping away from our generations, that we have this ability. And why is it slipping away? Because it can be quite scary, it can be embarrassing. But the thing is, we all make mistakes. And the Panj Pyare, wherever you take to them in terms of a mistake, that's in confidence. They're not going to put a social media post up about it, right? The Panj Pyare at that point are the form of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So don't think, oh, I'm going to speak to someone Singh or someone Singh. When they're in that Bana, they're not XYZ Singh, they're Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And just like you go and admit your mistakes to your parents, you go and admit your mistakes to Guru Gobind Singh Ji.
But first you have to unlock your device.
Google agrees. So it's really important that, especially for those of us that are Amritari, it's not an easy thing. It takes courage, right? Because then the thing is, you go to Amrit Sanchar, and then the rest of the Sangat know, yo, he's already taken Amrit, why is he here? But who cares about them? They're not going to be waiting for you when you die. I don't know, it's every man for themselves. Siddhi Gala. So, when you feel there's something, don't wait. Go to the next Amrit Sanchar and get it done. Because who knows when our last breaths will come. And the last thing we're going to be thinking is, man, I had a chance every week, there's Amrit Sanchar, and I'm Gyani. And for those of you that haven't taken Amrit, take Amrit. Why wait? Why wait? And Amrit's not this scary thing. A lot of people try and scare people about Amrit. Oh, it's this scary thing. You're going to have a boring life. You're not going to be able to do anything. Taking Amrit's the funnest thing you'll ever do. And the most important as well. Yes, does it require discipline? Of course it does. Does it require dedication? Of course it does. But we're all disciplined in our jobs. We're all dedicated to our workouts. We're all dedicated to Netflix. Dedication and discipline aren't scary things if you're putting them to the right cause. So don't wait. And some people, there's a famous saying, "Hale kirpa nahi hui. Jado mari di kirpa hogi, fir shak longe." In my head, if you've just listened to this, Guru Sahib's already telling you. And if you've had a thought of taking Amrit, fir kirpa ta hui hai. There are some people that go through life not even thinking about Amrit. If Maharaj has done kirpa on you to even think about Amrit, that's your ishara. Saying Hale kirpa hui nahi is actually rude, I would argue. Because what you're saying is, kirpa ta hui par main nahi lana. Not for me. Don't blame it on Guru Sahib. And I might be coming across a little bit harsh, but you know, this is serious stuff. Nowadays, people are so scared to talk about taking Amrit. Why? It's like it's the first step of Sikhi. It's nothing scary, and we should encourage each other to take Amrit as well, Guru Kirpa. So don't delay, take Amrit today. And just starting to wrap up, what are we doing for time? Okay, cool. Just starting to wrap up, as we're getting towards the end of the Sakhi, a few side quests that came to mind is even going for pesh. These are like things that our generation is losing, for whatever reason. And I thought about the Sharda by Makhan Shah. Look how much faith, look how much love he had for the Sangat and the Guru. And a few things, one verse from Bhai Gurda's Kabit always comes up to me whenever I think about traditions and Sharda. And it's this Kabit. They say that Panch bar gang jaye bar panch pran naye taisa pun ek Gursikh ko navaye ka. That you get, so in the Hindu Dharam, going to Ganga, the Ganges, is a huge yatra, it's massive, right? You get a lot of fall from it. Guru Sahib is saying, you get the reward of going to the river Ganges, having a bath there, Panjvari, 5 times, if you do the pun, you do the good deed of helping a Gursikh take a Ishnan, providing them a shower, providing them jalpani, providing them soap, whatever it is. If you can provide a Gursikh with the facilities to have a Ishnan, Unnak fal miluga for a Hindu trying to make a lifetime yatra of going to the Ganges times 5. Anna? So if someone needs to use your shower, just let them. Give them a towel as well. But it's interesting, right? Like back in the day, and I hear of like, if you listen to elder Gursikhs, they would like stay one day at this Flanna's house, then they would stay at Flanna's house. It was just normal, right? You would just stay at people's houses. We don't do that anymore. We don't host people anymore. You guys feel that? Or is it just me? It's like, even like, kisi de ghar jana, you got like email 4 days in advance, check in with their PA, make sure their calendar's clear. You know what I mean? Let alone staying the night at someone's house. Sikh ko pilai pani pao kar, khur khet asmed jag phal Sikh ko jivai ka. If you give a Sikh pani pao de naal with prem, if you give someone a Gursikh with if you feed them with love and care, you get the amount of fall of as going to Kurkshetra, which is another yatra for Hindus. And Asmed jug is a thing. A jug is like a serving of food, it's like a langar. But Asmed jug is when the jug, you give the whole world langar. And it's happened a few times in like Indian epics. If anyone can remember, it happened in the Ramayana? Someone remind me. It happened somewhere, I can't remember where, right? So maaf kar dena. But it's like when the biggest thing you can do is like shakar langar to the whole country, or like all the Brahmins of that country. Guruji is saying, you give one Gursikh langar, Sharda Prem, then all you get that much fall. People in the past thousands of years have tried to get the benefit of this thing by giving langar to the whole country. Guru Sahib saying, X Sikh nu shakade, you'll get that. Now imagine what you're accumulating where you're doing langar seva. How many people do we give seva to? Imagine the points you're racking up. Obviously we don't do it for the points, but the nice benefits, right? We're not going to say no to them. जैसे सत मंदिर कंचन के उसार दीने तैसा पन सिख को एक शब्द सिखाए का. So this one's where you cash your money in, yeah? Sat Mandir, Sat has 2 arts, it has a few. But normally we think of Sat as 7, but it also means 100 as well. Sat Mandir, Mandir also means like a mal, a big mansion. Kanchan is gold. If you imagine donating 100 mansions made of gold, Taisa pun onna fal, you get the same reward as Sikh ko ek shabad sikhai ka. If you teach one Sikh one shabad, that's why we're in the Santya game. Every Sunday, you're welcome to come. I'm only joking. So, learning Gurbani yourself, but also remembering to teach it is, look at what Bhai Gariya is putting the value on teaching Gurbani. You know? And then, Jaisa 20 bar darsana saad kiya, kahu taisa phal Sikh ko, cha papag soai ka. So, pag means pair. If you cut the pair or you do the malish of a Sikh, that's the same as going to meet a sadhu countless times. So sometimes like we travel to different countries to try and meet certain Mahapurukhs or something, right? I know. Obviously here they're talking about the general holy people. People pay silly amounts of money. Guruji is saying you do the malish of one Gursikh and you'll get the fall multiplied of going to meet a holy person. Even that, how many of us do malish of each other? It was a very big thing back in the day. Obviously you have safeguarding and stuff now. You should do that. Don't be the langar hole to grab someone's foot, right? Say, I want the fall of Bhai Gariya, he said. You probably get kicked out the Gurdwara. But obviously people you trust, like, obviously, and definitely no gender mixing. because that would just be really weird. Take the opportunity. If you can see, even your parents, even your friends, your family, if they've had a long day at work, one of the malish kar lo. You get a lot of fal from it. A lot of fal from it. So these are just old traditions that I just thought, you know what, we need to hear these things more often. And even now, when a friend comes over, I do this all the time. What do we do? Yo, should we get Mr. Singh's? I ain't got 3 hours to cook for you, man. That's long. But now I'm thinking, you know what? We do seva of the Sangat or Guru di khushi mildi. And that's what we're here for. So try and make those steps. Just finishing off. The thing that came to me with this idea of Makhan Shah went and blackened his own face was that, you know what? We've gone soft. We hear no once. Chalo, forget the Guru. We hear no from our manager once. We're like, we hear no from someone on the street and we're like, sorry. We've lost that furti, that I don't want to call it jalakness, but like that teji. The idea to just be thinking on the spot and work around the box. And this has happened so many times. And even with Guru Sahib, obviously we never do beadabi or disrespect Guru Sahib. But as you've just said, like Guruji di khushiya bhi hoti hai. Guruji gets happy when the Gursikhs think outside the box. Because that's a test as well. And one thing you do need to know about, one of the biggest cheat code that exists in Sikhi, so I'm going to give you guys this for free, is Sarna Sahib, Gurdwara Sarna Sahib, which I have to shout out, my wife told me about it, Bajeet Kaur at the back. So all props to her. So Sarna Sahib is another example of where Gursikh used initiative and technically went against what the Guru said, but still got the blessings of the Guru. Anyone been here? Yeah, a lot of people don't even know it exists, right? So, what is Sarna Sahib? It's the Pend. It's in Basarke, which is a Pend not far from. It's in Amritsar, so it's not far from Harmandir Sahib, but half an hour away. And it's the family Pend of Guru Amar Das Ji, and a few of the other Gurus grew up there as well. So at the time, Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj, Bhai Datu Ji, who was the brother of Guru Angad Dev Ji, after Guru Angad Dev Ji gave the Guruship to Guru Amar Das Ji, Bhai Datu Ji was vexed, right? You might have heard of the Sakhi where Bhai Datu Ji comes and kicks Guru Amar Das Ji, and Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj says, forgive me, I must have hurt your foot. He gave that much respect to the brother of Guru Angad Dev Ji. That's Bhai Datu Ji. Bhai Datu Ji banished Guru Amar Das Ji from Goindwal Sahib. And so then Guru Amar Das Ji went back to their family pind, Basarke. And they went into a pora. They locked themselves in a room and said, anyone that comes in here, they're not my Sikh. So now obviously there's a door at the front, and all the Gursikhs are like, yo, we can't go in. Like Guru Sahib ne bhajan kita, we don't want to shut off. We don't want to get that negative effect on us. So then they went to Baba Buddha Ji, the mastermind of the Guru's house. And they said, Baba Ji, what should we do? We need to see Guruji. We need the Sangat. Hanji. Sorry. They said, anyone that comes through this door to see me is not my Sikh. So then Baba Buddha Ji said, what's the situation? And they said, look, anyone that comes through the door, we got no other way of getting in. And Baba Ji said, Chalo, Guru Sahib didn't say anything about the back. So they went around the back and they took all the itta out, and then they made a little hole, and Baba Buddha Ji came through. And Maharaj Baba Buddha Ji, what are you doing? I said, andar nahi hona. I said, nahi Maharaj, tusi kya darwaje rahi nahi hona. Asi pichhu aaye. And then Guru Amar Das Ji got so happy with them. And they said, Baba Buddha Ji, because of you, many Sikhs will be saved. And they said, anyone that goes through this hole, only the 84 katti jangi. They're 8.4 million life forms, they're coming and going, it will be destroyed. Anyone that comes with his faith and literally goes through this hole. Have you guys heard of Goindwal Sahib? You know the steps? The 84. And now you have to do a Japji Sahib on each one, then go and do an Ishnan, right? 84 times. It takes like 24 hours at the earliest. You can't eat, you can't go to the toilet. It's a hard graft. But even then, it's still a great deal. Imagine you spend 24 days and you sort your life out. But Guruji's, because of the initiatives of the Gursikhs, because of Baba Buddha Ji, we got an even easier option. All we have to do is go to this Gurdwara, Japji Sahib karke, ardaas karke, and go through this hole. Now, obviously, you should still do Goindwal Sahib as well. But it's good to have multiple insurance policies, right? That make sure you spread your bets. And this is a picture of the Gurdwara. And with Guruji's, that's my dad actually. I'm going to introduce you to my dad in a second. So it was super hard to get a picture. I didn't randomly get a picture of some BB's feet, yeah? It was like carnage. I like trickily trying to get a picture, right? So here, if you read it, what does it say? Ek onkal palle amardas gurun tere teri upma tohe ban ava. It's a part singing the praises of Guru Amardas Ji Maharaj. So the first line is Gurbani Pankti. Under it is from Surya Prakash, and it talks about what Guru Amardas Ji Maharaj said at that time. They said, "San beech nar jo lakh java." Nar is a person, son sahib. Does anyone know what that meaning of son actually is? Is that what hole means? Okay, son means hole, right? So anyone jo java, anyone that goes through this hole, so nar, that person jam ke panth na ave. They can never go and be held by the Jamdoots. They will never be born again, and they will be freed from birth and lives. And Tan Tan Baba Buddha Ji, because they're the one that gave us this cheat code. You know? So here's a picture of me. It looks like I'm doing my press up. But it's a struggle to get through. You know? And it's really interesting. I've never heard of anyone that couldn't get through. In the most respectful way, even people that are big have got through. I'm talking seriously big. Because Mara ne kirpa kiti. Guru Sahib didn't say people with a BMI of XXX can come through. Guru Sahib ne kiya sari manuk. So there's no restrictions. Oi Guru Sahib di kala.
Initially, when you look at it, it looks like you might not make it.
Yeah, it's tiny. It looks tiny.
It's really small. It's the oval as well. It's not even a proper. It's not a circle. It's like an oval. But when you're sitting there, you're thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to be that one person who doesn't make it."
You're gonna have to get the tail and that. Push you through. Yeah, honestly, it's like an optical illusion. And when you go, you're like, yo, this is massive. Oh, Mara di kirpa. And then my dad killed it. He was loving it. Yeah, he's like, yo, this is sick. So what he did is he just stood, he was there and he just waited for us to take a photo. And literally, he's like this. I'm like, Dad, he's like, Kechali. I'm like, bro, there's a line, like, this is beastie, man. So I just thought I had to show you this because my dad, he's like there for like 30 seconds. And he's like, Kechalo photo, Kechalo. Chalo, you've just conquered your 84 lakh June, you probably want a photo, right? So, Guru Sahib doesn't say no to the bhagat. So let's have that mindset of don't take no for an answer. And in the most respectful way, even if you think Guruji is giving you a no, try again. Obviously, you'll know if you're asking for something stupid or something wrong, it's quite obvious, right? But if you have that much love for Guru Sahib, you can trick them with your love. You can lure them in with your love. And Guru Sahib won't be able to say no. And then just finishing off the Sakhi, at that point, Guru Sahib was super happy. They said, Hon asi pargat honge. And they said, go wash your face. And then Makhan Shah Lubana put the clothes on Guru Sahib themselves. Guru Sahib ne nami dastar sajai. And then they went out. And that's where we hear of the whole Gur Lad Dore. And at that point, as all the Sangat came, they're like, what? This person, he hasn't left his house in how many days? And I'm like, because at the moment, everyone was used to the guppies. They were used to people just speaking so much. They were shocked that, you know what, this guy, he hasn't even say anything. And even today, look at politicians. Who are the people that have the most power? The ones with the most voice. No one looks at the quiet person. Only those wise people look at the quiet people and say, what do you think? Because that's where the wisdom is. And the Thara Sahib is still at Baba Bakala. So that's Baba Bakala Sahib. And that's the Pura. And I believe the Thara Sahib, so the what do you call it? What's the Thara? The platform where Guru Sahib was presented is still there at Baba Bakala. So it's that. This is the Bunga where that thing took place. And then Bhai Vishal Singh said something very interesting at the end. He said, nowadays, we all want a guppy. We all want someone that speaks a lot. We don't listen to the people that are quiet and reserved. And he said, that's why everyone was shocked, because they thought, oh, the Guru must be coming out with all guns blazing. So when Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji came out as this reserved person, it took people a while. But then what happened was Makhan Shah Lubana explained the whole Sakhi. I did ardaas. I checked all these fakes. I came to Guruji. Guruji read my mind. Guruji has the mark on their shoulder. This is the true Guru. And then everyone started flocking towards Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji with their peta. And Guru Sahib Paragat ho gaye. And then obviously all the other Masans got very angry. Again, the Sakhi continues, but we're going to stop now. Tirmal, one of the Masans of Tirmal, even tried to shoot Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And apparently the bullet came to the forehead and it just dropped. And then like there were fights basically after this. Because why? All the peta, all the money was going to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And that's what all the others were there for. Hanji Paji, you had a question?
The Gurdwara you just showed, it's called Bakala Sahib. What's the actual name of the actual Gurdwara?
Yeah, it's Gurdwara Baba Bakala.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant just that.
Oh no, so it's like it has two parts, right? So that's the actual main Gurdwara, but that's the Bunga and the Thada where Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hanji. And everyone remember that, you know, this is Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's son, of course it is. And then they made the connection about Baba Bakala, the actual Baba of Guru Har Krishna Sahib Ji, and then everyone basically man gaya si, hai na? And the reason I got a picture of Baba Thakur Singh Ji up is because, again, Baba Thakur Singh Ji was someone that was very quiet. And Bhai Vishal Singh Ji actually talks about this experience. They said they heard from a Singh once that there was a lot of politics that would happen amongst the Singhs, and all, like, he said this, he said that, whatever, right? And Baba Ji would always have Bart playing. Now, if you looked on the outside, you would think, how is this person a leader? How has this person got so much respect? They don't say anything. Oh, gal nahi karde, hai na? But if you ask any of the people that were involved, after 1984, Baba Ji ran the show. They looked after all the Shaheed Parvars. They ran everything. They were the general. Hai na? So you look at them, you think, how is this being that just literally listens to Part all day, how are they operating? And it's interesting, and because normally we want the person with the PowerPoints and the social media channels and the person that's putting themselves out there, right? But it's not always the case. Quite often it's not the case, actually. And Bhai Vishal Singh talks about an interesting Sakhi of Baba Thakur Singh. He said, Ekadin Singhai, and they were reading Sukhmani Sahib was playing, and the Singh was like, Baba Ji, it's urgent, it's urgent. And he goes, Je Sukhmani Sahib to hor bhi koi jaruri galla fe kar lo. If there's anything more important than Sukhmani Sahib, then speak, otherwise bhaja. So that was the level of Baba Thakur Singh Ji. And the great Gursikhs, a lot of them, they're not here for the gup. They're here to get things done. So don't be deceived by people that don't speak much or just keep themselves to themselves. Quite often, they're the people you want to ask. And I thought that was just interesting to share with even Panthic leaders of today as well. So, just finishing off, I want to ask you all, what were your main takeaways? Is there anything that stood out in particular? We covered a lot, and I'm going to summarize it in a second, but it's a bit of an experiment for me and my delivery skills to hear what the main takeaways were. So I'd appreciate if anyone would share, if you have anything. Hanji, Bhai Sahib.
The detail was very good.
Kirpa.
A lot of detail.
Hanji.
That's like before, but
What do we normally hear, right? Oh, he tested everyone, he jumped on a roof and dashed his Suzuki around, right? But the thing is, I've chopped out loads. And just to add to Bhai Sahib's point, it wasn't me adding the detail. His takeaway is actually, look at what is contained in Katha. Now imagine every Sakhi you know, imagine you had it to this detail, how your view on Sikhi would change. But that's what's available to us. Thank you for sharing. What else? Hopefully there's some more, otherwise I've done a very bad job. Hanji Singh Ji.
Quick one, Paji. Firstly, following on from Paji's point, I love the detail and I love how you delivered.
Kirpaji, thank you.
Speaking of detail, you know when you mentioned that Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave darshan to
Baba Nand Singh Ji.
To Baba Ji.
Hanji.
Was there any record given by Baba Ji about how Pehli Paatshi actually looked? Because a lot would, you know, we have this mental image of.
Hanji.
Did you ever mention anything?
No, I don't know if I'm honest with you, I'm afraid. I know it's taken from the Jeevani. So if you have access even online, there's access of Baba Nand Singh Ji's Jeevani. That Sakhi's taken out of there. So they may have described it, but I'm not sure, I'm afraid. But it's a good question. It's a good question. I know quite often, yeah, a lot of, and it's not about Baba Nand Singh Ji, loads of Mahapurkhs have had darshan of Pratak Guru Sahiban, some 10 altogether. There's a famous one of Baba Harnam Singh. The podcast came out just last week on Boss TV, well worth the watch. They had an ishara in their mind once when they came to the Gurdwara and said, we always say that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is Dasa Paatshah the Saroop, but how is that? And they didn't ask it in like a Shanka way, they were just like curious. And at that point, the 10 Guru Sahibs came and stood behind Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So yeah, if you can do some research and share next week, that'd be good. That's your homework, Singh. Any other main takeaways, Singh Ji?
I just wanted to say that where Baba Nand Singh Ji got darshan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, that Gurdwara you can see when you land in Amritsar, is in the actual airport complex.
Of course it is. Oh, what's it called? Yeah, it's only open on like Sundays or something. So it's actually in Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj's airport. It's on one of the runways. It's really interesting. Okay, any other main takeaways or thoughts? Hanji Benji.
I thought it was quite interesting. I wasn't aware of this. But you could go and see the 5 Pyare and redeeming sins.
WhyGuru.
I really was never aware of this. Or
Hanji.
you could go and have to do Japji, and I think that's really positive. Something that I've really taken away today.
Guru Kirpa. If someone can help me out with this, because generally speaking, you kind of fall into that process once you've taken Amrit. Can you go to the Panch Pyare if you're not Amritari in Amrit Sanchar? You probably can go and ask a question, right? No. Well, the best thing to do if you haven't taken Amrit is when the Panch Pyare come out of the Amrit Sanchar, ask them then. Grab them. Again, initiative, right? If you're not Amritari, we need a question, make the most of the situation. The other thing you can do is you can call Panch Singh over to your house for Prashada. They can do ardaas for you. There's so many ways that Guruji has given us to just make our lives a lot easier. Guru Kirpa. Hanji.
I used to ask this because I think you're right about when you say we're losing that concept of bridge. Because I was raised with the attitude that once you've taken on once you've taken it.
Yeah.
And that's it. But actually, it's not. We keep saying it's not a destination, but then we treat it as a destination. It's like an ongoing commitment, right? An ongoing lifestyle thing. But if you haven't received Amrit yet, you haven't formally made a commitment, so you can't be held accountable for that in a worldly sense. Obviously, Maharaj will hold us all accountable for, we pay for our Karan.
Hanji.
But there's no formal process to being, held accountable. And that sounds really harsh, but the other way I look at it is you've got nowhere to go. Right?
Yeah.
If you haven't formally committed to the path of the Khalsa, then you haven't got somewhere to go when you, So you can go to Panchbari for advice, but I think that's just another way to look at it. Instead of it being a scary thing that you have to do, you see it as, well, actually, this is how I join the family of the Guru.
Hanji.
And this is how I keep myself in check. It's not like I have to overcome hard things to receive Amrit. It's that I receive Amrit and then I have these tools and this guidance and this structure to help me overcome hard things for the rest of my life.
That's a great way of putting it.
Keep going back, and it is a continuous thing. And you're always held by the Khalsa, you're always held by the Panchwari, you're always held by Guru Sahib. It's not something you do and then never go back.
Hanji, that puts it perfectly. And also more so, Amrit gives you access to those platforms and facilities. Hanji. This is Sunado.
So there's a Sachi of the Gurmukhi, they're on their horse and they're doing part, and the Singhs are travelling with them alongside on their horses, and as their part finishes, the Gurmukhi Maharaj just bow their head in honour of having completed the part that they're doing. But it just so happens that they're going past this place where it's like a muddy, which is like where, like a lot of people worship.
Like a gravestone.
Yeah, like a gravestone that people worship. And Guru Sahib weren't doing namaskar to the gravestone, but they had their eyes closed and they were like doing a dark in their mind, and they, they bowed down. But the Singhs, obviously, they're like, oh, Guru Sahib just bowed, and there's a gravestone there. So the Singhs got Shankar in their mind that, oh, Guru Sahib just bowed to a gravestone. So at this point, like, Guru Sahib had already given like a lot of autonomy to the Sikhs. So they had that relationship with Guru Sahib where they like could say, Guru Sahib, why did you do that? How come you did that? Like with respect. Guru Sahib obviously told them the reason, but they said that I want you to still give me a tankha, which is what is when you go to Parchar and they give you like a it's called tankha because it's like which actually means a wage, but it was interesting.
So you pay off your debt by doing this, right?
That's right. And Guru Sahib said that I want to use by example with this. So, you think like, I want you to give me something for me to do. So in that point, they gave Guru Sahib like certain parts or whatever to do as you would when you go to Parchar. And I always think of that story as like Guru Sahib telling us that everyone can make mistakes, even though Guru Sahib doesn't make mistakes. But they lead by example to the fact that it's okay, like you can go and like don't feel ashamed to do something, even if it is by accident, because that's what it's made for, that's what it's available for us to go. And also the level of respect they gave to the Khalsa, that they're like, you have the authority to point things out. This is what I need to be doing as well. So I would take that from Islam.
Yeah, and Guru Sahib led by example by that. But no, thank you, Benji. I appreciate you sharing it. It's always hard to pitch these things because you don't know, like, do people know about them, listen to it, do they not? So I always try and cover it from the base level anyway, so I appreciate you mentioning it. Just lastly, anyone else? And then what we'll do is we'll wrap up. Our people, it's 10 to 9. Do people still want to do a Q&A? Or do you want to call it an evening? Hands up for Q&A. Again, if a few people want to stay, we can stay. If everyone wants to call it an evening, we can. So just hands up if you want to stay for another 20, 30 minutes or so. Okay, we'll see who's left. Anna? Oh, there's a few of us, that's fine. All right, cool. So just wrapping up, a few things that came to my mind is the power of ardaas. And when you do ardaas, you follow through on it. Anna, it's just not like, I'll commit to this one thing and then I'm going to forget it. Anna. I'm talking to myself here because there's a few things I need to do. Being mischievous. We all need to be a bit more mischievous. Don't take no's for an answer. Definitely don't take no's from an answer from the world. Hannah? This kid just looked at us and was like, hear that? Don't. When you say no, Mandeep Singh said, not to your mouth. Hannah? And it's funny, me and my wife always talk about this a lot, like, well, I won't lie, but I haven't. I'll give you an example. What was it earlier? Something happened earlier today. You remember?
You said that you helped with admissions.
Oh, I was talking to a tutoring client, right? I was talking to a tutoring client, and she's from Hong Kong. And they were just talking about how their son wants to come to university. And I taught in a school. And I was like, yeah, I've done university admissions at school. And she's like, have you? I was like, I've helped students out with their UCAS. I've done it. And you know what I mean? So it's like, be savvy about things. And Gursikhs did this. So like the two quick Sakhis that come to my mind is of Baba Adali Ji, a great Mahapurkh from Guru Arjan Dev Ji's time, who brought Baba Bidhi Chand into Sikhi. So what happened? Long story short, Baba Bidhi Chand stole some cows. He went to Baba Adali Ji's house. Baba Adali Ji said, yo, put him in the pond over there. The chor come knocking on Baba Adali Ji's door. And they're like, our cows are there, but they're different color. Is the chor here? Look at what Baba Adali Ji says. He goes, well, I've got this guy here. Does he look like a chor to you? He didn't say no. He didn't say no. So it's having that kind of furti, that's outside the box thinking. And even Sukha Singh Matab Singh, this is like one of my favorite Sakhis. When they went to Darshan Duri, so when they went to go and take off Masaranga's head, there was a guard there, and the Khalsa never lies. That's the thing. Jhoot nahi bolda. But we can manipulate words. So what happened was, when they went to Darshan Duri, there was a gate, there's a peradar there, and he goes, what are you here for? He goes, we've come to give some tax. Now he's thinking monetary tax, these guys are thinking garam tax. So they didn't lie. To Masarangar, he goes, mera bhi muh mitha kar de. He goes, so miha alabe. He goes, koi nahi, oda muh mitha kar lende, fir aake thada bhi kar dungi. Now he's thinking he's getting a payoff. These are thinking, yo, we're going to take your head off. And then what happens is when they decapitate Masarangar, they've got Masarangar's head on a spear and they're riding towards him. And he's running, he goes, oh, aja, thanu bhi mitha khalaiye. This is the way of the Khalsa, this kind of thinking. So let's not just be hanji people. Let's think outside the box. Let's make things happen. Let's be stubborn. And in that, if it's done the right way, you get Guru Sahib's Khushi as well. And then just finishing off, sorry, I know I've gone over time. The importance of itihasik asthans, going and reliving these places. Sarn Sahib should be on the top of all your lists now. I was going to advertise the yatra, but it's sold out, so you have to wait till next year. But there's a lot of yatra. The Seek to Inspire one I vouch for personally. I've been on it twice. It was really, really good. And you go around with a group of Gursikhs that do the English explanation of each Gurdwara as you go, and you get like hookups to all the Jatedars and all the great Mahapurukhs. So it's really good. So for next year, keep an eye out. But this year it's sold out. But again, be stubborn. Email them saying, yo, I'm coming. Where are we meeting? Or you know what? If you want to be a bad man, the timetable is actually on the website. Just rock up. What are they going to do? Seriously, they're not going to say no. Jani Sukraj Singh's probably watching this now. Honestly, the timetable is actually on the website. Get your own accommodation and just tag along. Eventually, they'll be like, you know, we got a spare camera. Just go. Don't take no for an answer. Perfect. I didn't even plan that. That was natural. That was natural. And the thing is, when the world tells you no, Guru Sahib will make a way. You just got to push forward. That was my takeaway from this. And you always put Sangat, Sikhi and the Guru first. And by doing that, that's actually a very selfish thing because you'll be sorting yourself out along the way. Local initiatives to get involved in. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to hold it now. Every Thursday here, every Friday at Stratford Road Gurdwara. As I mentioned, we teach Santhya. I'm trying to get those 100 gold mandars, so please come. I'm joking. No, with due respect, a few people have started coming Santhya. Connecting to you, Guru, is the first step. Every Sunday at Somerset Gurdwara from 9:30, we have a Santhya class. You're all very welcome. And we start everyone from beginners, so it doesn't matter if you've read Punjabi for 10 years or you've never read it in your life, it doesn't matter. Speak to me after. And my question to you now is, what are you going to change leaving this talk? If you've come here and thought, oh, that was nice, and you go back and do the exact same stuff, Albert Einstein's definition of madness, doing the same stuff over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So my question is just, I'm going to give everyone 30 seconds to think, what are you going to change now? Because if not, what was the point of coming with due respect? So it's still Laha and Sangat and stuff. I'll give everyone 30 seconds. Chalo, hopefully there's something positive. One thing that I hope some of you might have said is, yo, there's a lot of detail here. We need to listen to Katha. So I said, please listen to Katha. All the gems are in Katha. And I've even got really technical and created 3 QR codes for you all. For 3 playlists, I'd highly recommend. Now look at this. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji's Itihas has 267 episodes. Someone got it. We know you got it, Benji. We know it's all right. You don't need to blast your volume. Waving a phone in the air. I'm only joking. So, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is what I've been listening to. I also started listening to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji's Kathas. That is crazy. It's so interesting. And then the other thing, like, you know the Bhai Gariya, this is how it all comes together. You know the Bhai Gariya Ji Sakhi? I got that from this Itihas. And then it came up there. And that's how I knew who Bhai Gariya Ji was. Not because the prasang was about Bhai Gariya Ji, because in Sukhmani Sahib, the Pangti comes up, Bhagat Janaka Manabis Ram. So Gyani Jangbir Singh talked about Bhai Gariya Ji, and then that helped me with that. So don't try and do all 3 at once. I just say, you know what, try and listen to one. And the Punjabi for both Gyani Jangbir Singh and Bhai Vishal Singh isn't too difficult. If you can't listen to Punjabi Katha, obviously listen to English Katha. Basics of Sikhi, Boss TV, Seek to Inspire, there's loads of channels. Anyone got a picture? Everyone got their picture that needs it? Teacher. Yeah? And that goes to the playlist because sometimes they're quite hard to find. But those are the 3 I definitely recommend. And it's said that if anyone listens to all the itihas of the Guru Sahibs from Surya Prakash, so it takes, if you listen to an hour of katha every day, it'll take you 4 years to listen to all the itihas. Mahaprabhu said that if you listen to that katha, you will get mukti just by listening to it. Because the katha will develop your prem, your shraddha, your faith, your love for the Guru, and that will take your Sikhi to a next level, as hopefully the itihas from today has as well. Boss TV as well, as I've mentioned, I'm based on Sikhi channel. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I've talked about it before, is with Guruji's Kirpa, base of Sikhi obviously does everything of Seva, and we want to take things to the next level, so we need the Sangat support. So I'm going to leave a QR code up. So my benti is to support with you this month. With Guruji's Kirpa, we've got over 20 members of staff. I could tell you about the stats, but I'm not going to. But in essence, we can only take it to the next level with your support financially. And the key is direct debits, because that allows us to forecast for the future. So if anyone is interested in helping out or wants to know more about the projects we're doing, speak to me after. If anyone has a business in which they'd like to sponsor something, you know, charitable donations are they're tax write-offs, so you literally you got the money there anyways. You might just give it. That sounds quite pressured. It's true. And that way with Guruji's Kirpa we can do more talks. Even the guest speakers that we have here, the admin teams, it all costs, right? And we don't charge to come to events, and we never will, Guru Kirpa. But please do support, and I'm going to leave that QR code up at the end. Other than that, what we'll do is I'll have a 5-minute break. If there are still people around, we'll do a Q&A. Otherwise, thank you all so much. Forgive me for all the mistakes I would have made. And anything you heard today was not Mandeep Singh, it was the itihas. And please remember that. So again, let's all finish with one Mool Mantra da Jap, and then we'll do Samapti. Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpao Nirvar Akal Murat Juni Sapang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.